couple of minutes. Okay, so today we talked about first 3 electives, which is early childhood, primary and secondary. And the early childhood we talked about why it's important to use, as a lot of the students said, colour, music, drama, dancing, art, to make it as inspirational and motivating as possible. And we use a lot of the rote, repeating the same sentences over and over. And substitution, meaning that we just change like one word like eyes becomes ears, which becomes mouth. And we do lots of the tactile, moving things, creating things, and kinesthetic style where we do the dancing, where we say what we're doing while we're doing the actions for it as well. So like that head, shoulders, knees and toes, or dancing around the mulberry bush, we can say on a Sunday, on a Monday, on a Tuesday evening or morning. Or the that one about the body parts. Also, we have them put your right foot in, take your right foot out, the hokey pokey. And I found something on the internet about helpful strategies. So there was 9 of them. So explicit meaning exact instruction about what we're teaching them with a warm-up that's fun and engaging. Number 2 is that we encourage students with prompts and we don't tell them it's wrong. We correct them in such a way that it leads to the correct answer without them feeling deflated. We give them rich language, which means proper language, so we don't dumb it down, as some parents mistakenly do, in my opinion. So we make the proper sentences. And we have the class fitted out with posters and bright pictures and whatnot, with things that they can choose to look at or hold or touch, ask questions about. We encourage as many questions as possible. And scaffolding means, so whatever we taught previous, we build on it a little way. So if we've done just animal, next we might be doing mammals, and then we'll talk about another type of mammal would be marsupial, for example. That's a koala, has a pocket, or a kangaroo. And also to encourage their first 1 language. We don't tell them, no Spanish in this class, it's English only. Because there might be other Spanish-speaking English learners and they will learn from each other as well. But not only Spanish, they've got to speak majority of the time English. But they need to develop their first language because then they'll find the links between the 2. Preferably they'll speak their first language with their parents at home and English mostly in the classroom. But you as a teacher, I think it's good to know a couple of their words as well, make them feel at home. So we teach an alphabet and then we have the phonological, which is the sounds, so up, match the sounds, and then we do the actual print, which is A, B, C, and how we write it. Our last one is strategies to increase interest in literacy. So you can do the pretend reading. So have books you might think that are too difficult, but they still have interesting pictures there. Have books that they'll be interested in, even if you think it's too hard. Okay. And the last one was recognize that many literacy skills can cut across. So it could be the same song they know in their language, but they speak it in Spanish. Like a lot of those popular songs like Head, Shoulders, Knees and Toes are throughout the world in all languages. This mentioned a bit about the heuristic function of language. Students of that early age want to know the who, what, why, which means the heuristic here, which is to find out about their environment. So that comes up as a main function for young kids to learn. And this was according to Michael Halliday. So we did this little game where we had to match them. So heuristic one is this one here, which means to get information about the environment. Yeah, that was taken from Halliday. And Halliday also summarised for little kids what we do and what we don't do. And that's a 1-hour video. Have a look if you want. And this book is where I got the information from. And the assignment, which you can look at your own time. The next one was primary. And I took some information from this book, which you can look at as well during your own time, but how we motivate students to want to read ideas do fun little books like watching the caterpillar eat and how you can actually see the hole getting bigger with all the food. So it's a book that's tactile. And you have the acting out of things like the enormous turnip. There's boys pretend to be the turnip, and there's the grandpa and the grandma and the child. Number 2 was selecting the right stories that suit. According to Steve Krashen, this is how students learn. They have the small comprehensible input, so you don't give them anything that's too complicated. They need to have comprehensible chunks of language, and they acquire it that way. So acquiring means not to be explicitly taught the grammar. They learn it from listening to it and relating it to its meaning. So Krashen has 5 theories on how students learn, or young kids learn, which sort of ties in a little bit here. So I mentioned this, so that the acquisition and learning is different. Acquisition is subconsciously learning, and learning is you want to do it yourself. Natural order, so quite often we do the nouns first, then the verbs. And it's pretty much the same across the world, no matter which language you're learning. So we're teaching nouns first. To monitor, so that means once you know, like a noun has articles with it, a definite or indefinite, once you learnt that, then you'll be able to monitor. So if I say pumpkin, I have to remember it's a pumpkin, there's only one of it. But if I've shown you before, and it's been in conversation, we say the pumpkin. And input, that means the chunk has to be of that size that you can understand it, not too much or you'll lose them. And the affective filter are problems like they're anxious or they're not motivated because something's happened at home. Those sort of things we need to try to reduce. That's basically what Krashen says about learning. And the third way to increase primary school kids to learn is to choose the right books. So you can go to the Victorian Education Department and they've got a list here. Choosing age appropriate books. And there's a list of books down the bottom there. Not reading all that too much. Having onomatopoeia is the sounds that have become words. So when you put something in the water, often it has a sound like splash, which has become the word splash. So that's an onomatopoeia word. So things like watching Batman. This particular Batman 1960s movie has the actual word splam, splat, boom. So you can have them write down those words, onomatopoeia. And 3, academic writing, which means to critique things, which you do more in grade 5, grade 6. So in Australia in particular, or Western countries, we have to be able to give our opinion on something. So you do a book review. And then you put your opinion at the end, what you thought of the book. And literature as an agent of change. So saying to change as a person. So books that tell stories on how we should be acting in society, called fables, are also recommended. Okay, and then we have the 2 books I got the information from, and then the assignment for the primary years, which you can look at your own time. And the last one was for teenagers. Yeah. Teenage assignment. So basically a teenage assignment you can look at your own time as well. And that's everything that we did today. And next week we do the music, dance, drama and community centres and tech in ESL and volunteering in ESL, teaching school centre. And that was the end of today's lesson, the 20th of June. Good. Stop recording.